Hi, Shell.
And hello to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.
Uh, my background looks a little bit different because I did some spring cleaning and I dusted every book, and my bookcase as well, which meant, well, I kind of forgot where everything was on the shelf, and I had to systematically figure it out. So, I mean, I knew these three were in the right spot. I'm pretty sure this was down. I now have three empty shelves over here, which is nice, because that means I've got space for the next lot of books to read that I'm because this is my red this side is my red shelf. This is problem shelf and excited to read. So yeah, that was just a quick me trying to be quick on explaining the background is different. I did spring cleaning because my books needed to be dusted. Yeah, it also means I think I swapped my Dalek picture for my Tiger Frog picture. They're on the other side now. Anyways, Dancing Girls. We are with Polarities. I haven't got a coaster. Polarities. Polarities. When you haven't said something out loud and it just gets at you because you haven't done it. So yeah, I have a. I can literally keep my book there now, which is quite nice. So this one, this made me feel like I didn't get it. It was very slow and boring until the middle point, because in the very beginning we're literally following this guy called Morrison. Morrison is so unobservant, very indifferent. He's a professor of some kind. Not quite sure of what, but he's literally just commenting on little tiny things like his landlady. He's lucky to get the flat he did in the market currently, and he had to weasel his way in because he was just like, "Oh, you're also gonna have to paint," and she was just like, "Oh, the other person's willing to do it themselves." So basically, a lazy-ish landlady, and him having to paint his own walls, and it's a weekend project, him painting the walls, and constantly doing that. So there is that. And on top of that, there's this woman in his life, and the lines, he does not want to touch her because he likes sloppy women who leave plates and stuff in the sink. Something to do with because they're a bit low maintenance and they're not going to expect anything of him. Yeah, this is not great. I did not like just any of it. Honestly, it was. And then this Louise who comes into his life, um, he's so indifferent and unobservant that what she is saying is, I don't know, it's kind of, how did you not notice? How did you not realize any of what she is saying is like questionable? Because she's talking about how she can't use phones anymore, and then during conversation she's just like, "Oh yeah, I need to do this project on Blake," and the way she's talking about it is kind of conspiracy theory meets um hidden messages in poetry type of, and then there's like polarities, etc., and everybody else is going to do this and she wants to do something different, and it's just the way she's got about it is a bit weird. And I've just, oh shit, there's a spider. Oh god, how long has that been there? Oh no. I don't want to be in. I don't want to be here anymore. No, 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 no. Shit. Why is this the point where I notice a spider? Why? Okay. Because I don't normally look there. I don't normally look there. And now I know that there's. Okay. Story. It's fine. I'm fine. It's just not doing anything. It's just in the nook. It's in a nook and it's not wanting to come out. It's fine. What am I talking about? Stop looking at it. Okay, so Louise, what was she doing again? Right. It's so mundane and so boring up until she kind of comes knocking on the door and asks him to come out of the door, saying she can't go in the door anymore. And they've got to go around getting people to complete the circle. They need to complete the circle. And so they're going around town finding the other people she knows. I'm just gonna have to shuffle that way so it's out of my sight. Or is that worse? Is that worse? I feel like that's worse. I'm gonna have a panic attack in a minute. Oh god. Okay, so for reference, I do have araknophobia, and knowing it's there, it's Okay. So they're going around. So they're going around trying to pick up people from their work, I'm assuming, and the first guy, David, his wife stays at home with the baby. So Louise didn't come up because the door is in a wrong direction. It is facing east, and so she cannot go into the door. And so he's offering to go up and get them. And so he brings David down, and she's just like, "No, where's the baby? We've got to have these people so we can complete the circle." Um, nobody's asking questions about why. Nobody's like, stop looking at the corner. Nobody is asking about. So nobody's asking what this all is about. Why is the circle important? What is going on? Why does she believe this? And yes, it's still there. It's not moved. It's not moved. Sorry if this review is getting very distracted. This review is getting very fragmented because I've just noticed there is a spider very close to me. It's a big spider. Right. Okay. Ow. Right. So it's basically a short story about men taking this woman to a hospital because Paul, the third person in the trio, he's basically saying to the other two blokes while his wife is distracting her with a glass of milk in the kitchen, right, she's nuts, we need to take her to a hospital. And so they do that. It's quite horrific a scene because Morrison feels kind of like he's betraying her because she's kind of like in his life as a friend. And so there's this whole thing where she gets there, she's trying to act normal to the person who's checking her in, and she's just like, you might want to call the police. These guys, these friends of mine, they're doing this as a practical joke. And at the very end, when she realizes she's winning, that she's actually making them believe that this whole thing is a waste of time. She lets slip, nudges Paul, and is like, "You're not going to be invited into the circle, and if you'll excuse me, I've got to go stop a civil war." And yeah, that's when she gets admitted to the hospital. She does ask to go get some things, like a notebook, the black one, and some underwear, which one of the women can do. Obviously, you don't want a random blokes searching through your pants. So yeah, yeah, I'm gonna start shaking in a minute. Right, okay, okay. The ending made me feel like I didn't quite get the point of this story because the whole thing feels like, because there's this amazing line. I was about to actually underline the whole thing and highlight the whole paragraph. But it's just this whole thing with Morrison is like he doesn't want to touch her, but now that she's in a hospital, he's realizing that he loves her, and he's noticing that she's put on weight in the few months in the time that she's been there, noticing a hole in her tights and trying not to look at the run and the flesh that's through it. Ah, the picture at first elated, then horrified him. He saw that it was only the hopeless, mad Louise he wanted, the one devoid of any purpose or defense. A sane one who could judge him he would never be able to handle. And it comes back to that whole thing that men have to handle women as well. It's very, you can kind of, if you're not knowing of it, you realize how internally sexist this whole thing has been. Because it's all about his preferences in women, and he's not actually noticing, or like, because there's even a scene where she's in his flat at one point and saying he's telling her that she needs to speak to somebody, and she's just like, "Oh, you mean a shrink? I've already seen one of them," and he didn't notice her say what the shrink said, because she's saying, "Yeah, they scanned my brain, and I've got the same brain patterns of Julius Caesar." Didn't bother noticing that. Like, apparently he came to the realization months later, and I'm just like, months later, that how could anyone get the brain pattern of a historical figure? Right, right. It's quite upsetting following Morrison. It's quite upsetting seeing Louise's decline. It's upsetting seeing everybody force her in the car to go to the hospital. And I like the empathy that there is put on the end, where in his last visit in the story, she's basically asking him, "Do you think I'll ever get out?" Because there's even a conversation that she's trying to help the doctors treat the patients because the doctors aren't doing it right. And there is this whole thing about mental health. When I studied psychology in A level, I was taught about the treatment of patients, and how I think it was a study where psychologists went in and noted down like how they would treat and all that. They basically just gave surface level, like, "Oh, I'm just feeling this, this, and this," and they were labeled as such, and every single thing that they did was a symptom of their illness. And it's kind of touching, this story kind of touches upon that, how we treat patients in these hospitals. Yeah, the doctors probably don't feel all that. Slight empathy with, she's in a shitty hospital because the care isn't proper and how we would do things these days, because the doctors don't seem to be treating the patients right. Louise is saying that they're not caring for their patients in the proper way, that they're very indifferent, unfortunately. And yeah, that from what we know, treatment's come a long way and it's still needing improvement, but and then that slight hint of empathy towards Louise being in this place. And now the story just ends on Morrison going to the zoo where and look, he took Louise and basically is also going down the same path of thoughts, the polarities that she was talking about. He can see it now. I didn't like this story mainly because I feel like I didn't get the point of it. I feel like if I wasn't exhausted from working 40 hours a week and dipping into it, I might actually be able to have the brain power to work it out. I feel like I'm giving surface level because it does feel like there is a layer to it that I'm not seeing because I'm exhausted. But yeah. Anyways, that was this week's short story. I am not going to go near the camera because the spider is directly above the camera and I'm gonna have to like reach. So bye Shell, and bye to all you other wonderful weirdos watching. I am not going near that spider, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to get the camera now that I know that the spider is there. Oh boy. Oh dear. Can I just like... Okay, I got it.